Welcome everyone to the official Google Hangout for the Bachelor of Life Sciences. Welcome to the UNSW Science YouTube page. As you can see, we have a number of participants in this event. I might just quickly introduce myself as well as my colleagues who are involved in this Google Hangout, and we can get the ball rolling. So my name is Jiew. I'm a marketing officer in the Faculty of Science here at UNSW, and my role is to work really closely with prospective students as well as external stakeholders such as high school teachers, principals, careers advisors, and definitely here to answer any questions you have about the new degree that we are offering for next year. Today I am joined by a number of colleagues as well as a current student who is pursuing a science degree with a pathology major, which is very much part of the life sciences degree. I might quickly introduce Rosie Sackett, who is currently a student at UNSW Science. She's currently in her third year, and she has a background in pathology, so that's a major, which is very much part of the life sciences degree. And Rosie today will share her experience as a current science student, also a little bit about her experience within the pathology major and her courses. Also today, I'm joined by Dr. Gavin Edwards, who's the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs here at the Faculty of Science. Gavin is very much an academic leader and also a mentor and developer of this new Bachelor of Life Sciences degree. Gavin?
Hi there everyone.
And last but not least, we are also joined by Dr. Rebecca LeBard, who's an associate lecturer within the School of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences. Rebecca is very much involved with students. She teaches into a couple of the majors within life sciences, namely genetics and biochemistry, or what we now call molecular and cell biology. So Rebecca will also be here to impart her knowledge as an academic within our faculty. So without further ado, we might keep the conversation going. So obviously the Bachelor of Life Sciences is a new degree that we are offering within the faculty. Gavin, would you be able to enlighten students as to how the Bachelor of Life Sciences is different and how it's structured, and why exactly are we offering this new degree to students?
Thanks, Laura. Okay, so life science is a new degree, and like a number of our degrees, it is a 3-year degree. And within that 3-year degree, you need to do a specialisation, and that specialisation is what we call a major. There's a choice of 13 different majors you can choose from, and they roughly fall into 3 groups. So there's a group that we call the medical and health sciences. There's another that is probably the whole organism or environmental sciences. So things like marine science or ecology. And then there's the suborganismal ones, the majors that look at biochemistry, biological chemistry, microbiology, genetics, and the rest. The way in which the degree differs from, say, the Bachelor of Science is that it gives you the most flexibility in terms of what we call our free elective space. So it gives students the greatest chance to study, if they wish, outside the science area. In this degree, 2/3 of what you do is science, and 1/3 would be, or could be, not science. And that's up to the student to choose.
Thank you, Gavin. So basically, students, when they participate or undertake the Bachelor of Life Sciences, if they wish to undertake this degree as opposed to the Bachelor of Science, it basically gives them the opportunity to focus on a major that's very much health or bio, environmental science related, but at the same time also gives them the greatest ability to pick up science electives.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Moving on, Rebecca, can you tell us a little bit about the 2 areas that you teach in, so namely genetics and molecular and cell biology or biochemistry? Can you tell us a little bit about how these courses are taught in the faculty, and I guess why life sciences is such a interesting and I guess important area within the sciences?
Yes, well, one of the big courses I teach is 2nd year biochemistry. And this is quite hands-on, and most of our courses have a lot of lab components or field work in some of the other courses where students get to directly engage in science. In biochemistry, we're learning a lot of things that apply to your daily life, about how you use energy, where you get your energy from. There's also techniques that you'll later on use as a scientist. And in genetics, I'm looking both at traditionally how we discovered how DNA is inherited, onto a whole of the new techniques and things that are progressing today, a whole lot of the new interesting things we can do now that we can sequence genomes and manipulate material.
Yeah, so basically those two areas are very much important in our world today because they obviously affect the quality of our lives. And for those of you who are interested in maybe exploring science in areas that relate to medicine, would you suggest, Rebecca, that life sciences is a great option for these students?
It is really good if you're interested in that sort of thing. And because of the range of majors, you can look at sort of medical health sciences area, looking at anatomy and physiology, things like that. You can also look at it from more molecular area. So like I was just talking about with biochemistry related things, looking at things at a more molecular level and metabolism. But I think the interesting thing about doing this degree is that you get to do a lot of hands-on work with your laboratories, and a lot of our courses also have small group work where students are working together on problems and things during the week.
Thanks, Rebecca. Rosie, can I pose you a question? You're doing a pathology major. Can you relate a little bit to us what your experience is like in this pathology major? Rebecca touched a lot on some of the really useful hands-on lab sessions. Can you tell us a little bit of your experience from, I guess, from a current student?
Sure. So as a current student, my day typically involves going to a number of different classes, whether it be lectures, tutorials, or lab work, as you recommended. So, say for example this morning I was attending a pathology lecture for a couple of hours where we learned about the key concepts and about pathology, in particular cancer today. So then I moved on to the tutorials where we looked at that in more detail and looked at how it works in more depth. And then other times we'll go to lab classes such as in the Museum of Human Disease, in particular for pathology, where we look at real-life samples of, say, for example, a lung that has been infected with a particular disease. So we have a number of different ways that we're learning in the classroom in terms of pathology.
Great, thanks, Rosie. Well, I guess we've spoken a little bit about the options that we have and the mode of teaching. Gavin, can I come back to you? With respect to life sciences, what are the types of career opportunities that you think students might get into after completing the degree? I know it's a question that often comes up with prospective students. If you could maybe touch a little bit about that and enlighten the students.
Thanks, Laura. Yes, the career opportunities for this sort of degree are really broad, and in a way trying to explain it in terms of a single career opportunity is not possible. You could work in any of the medical fields, not necessarily as a doctor, but in any of the allied areas. With the environmental areas, you could work as a field officer, for example, with a local council. You could work as a microbiologist, as a geneticist, anything like that. But one of the things you need to remember about a science degree is that it gives you not just the direct skills, not just the core knowledge, it also gives you great transferable skills. So it gives you a whole lot of what people call generic skills, and these generic skills can be applied to a whole range of career opportunities. We see students in science, in all of our science degrees, ending up in careers that they probably never imagined that they would get when they started out.
Thank you, Gavin. I guess it's really important for students to know as well that sometimes with some of these degrees, and especially the Bachelor of Life Sciences, there is the ability to also pursue an honours year. Is that correct, Gavin?
That's correct. An honours year, of course, is the year of research that caps off a degree or helps to round out a student's experience. It's not compulsory, and provided students satisfy the entry requirements, which generally would be results around 65% on average, then they can transition into that honours year, and it gives them experience of things like research, managing a project, greater experience in communication, and so on.
Thanks, Gavin. Rebecca, can I come back to you? Would you be able to enlighten students? I mean, obviously you've got currently an academic and research career in the area of life sciences. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've come to the point of where you are right now?
Yes, I did a science degree, and looking back, lots of the courses that I took actually fit into the new life sciences degree, so it's a very similar track to which we have set up now. I majored in genetics and molecular biology type of courses, and I did an honours year as soon as I finished that. I really enjoyed that year. I was looking at multi-drug resistance in bacteria, which is a fascinating area at the moment, and using lots of the techniques that we teach in some of the majors to do with this new program. I really enjoyed that time being independent, doing lab work and mixing with people that were in the lab and that community every day. At the same time, I liked the university environment. I did some teaching when I did honours and wanted to do something that would have a combination. So I worked as a researcher for a little bit, and then I got a job as an academic where I got to balance both things I was interested in.
Thank you. Just to summarize that for anyone who's watching our stream, so just to touch base again with the types of career opportunities that are available to people who complete the Bachelor of Life Sciences. As Gavin has mentioned, it can be really diverse depending on the major that you pick. Obviously, it relates to if you end up in a health-related or medical science-related major. Careers can be as diverse as working perhaps in the medical field or pharmaceutical industry. Rebecca obviously comes from that background as well, currently works as an academic and researcher. And then Gavin also spoke about the environmental side of things, and students can maybe perhaps pursue a career in environmental consulting or as a field officer. And I just wanted to mention really quickly for those of you who are viewing, if you are interested in a psychology major, the Bachelor of Life Sciences also offers psychology as a major. All right, let's just move on to the next set of questions. Rosie, I might just pose you a question. Obviously, you're currently in your third year, as I've mentioned, you're studying science. Why did you choose UNSW Science?
So for a couple of reasons. I really enjoyed science at school. So I did biology and chemistry, and I really wanted to pursue that at uni. So I'm originally from Wagga, so couldn't go to uni there and do much science, so I was generally looking elsewhere. Sydney was the place I ended up looking at, and UNSW really. I visited UNSW. I had a great time when I visited UNSW, came to the science office and talked to people and talked to a number of people in the grad school and all sorts of different things, and tried to get a bit of a feel of what the university was like. So that was really helpful and really informed my decision to choose UNSW. The other thing was that in Good Universities Guide, UNSW ranks really well in a couple of things that were really important to me. So namely, we rank really well for graduate satisfaction and teaching quality. So there are a couple of things that were really important to me when deciding on UNSW.
Yeah. Thanks, Rosie. Gavin, can I come back to you just about, I guess, studying at UNSW, and especially in relation to the Bachelor of Life Sciences? Can you tell us about the ATAR that we predict might be for this degree?
Well, as you know, Laura, ATARs are based on supply and demand, so we can never say for certain that the ATAR will be a certain number in the following year. But we are probably pitching this around 80. So we think that if you get an ATAR around 80, that this would be a good option to put down.
Thanks, Gavin. And can you tell us a little bit about maybe perhaps what are the assumed knowledge requirements, just in case the audience aren't aware of them?
I beg your pardon?
Can you tell us a little bit about the assumed knowledge requirements, just in case the audience aren't aware of them?
Well, one of the things about this degree is it doesn't have as heavy a reliance on mathematics. A number of majors in the Bachelor of Science require you to do Maths 1A and Maths 1B at first year level, where you do a lot of calculus. A lot of the majors in this degree only rely on statistics. So while we do ask students to have done some mathematics at high school level, there is less required as you go through. We do like students to have probably completed HSC chemistry and another HS subject like biology.
Thanks, Gavin. I just wanted to add something really quickly as well for the audience, if you're wondering as well. So we spoke about the predicted ATAR, which might be around 80. We've spoken about the assumed knowledge requirements. If you're wondering what the UAC code is, just to give it to the audience out there, it's 429050. Just a quick reminder that the UAC application main round due date is due on the 30th of September, so make sure you lock that in. So again, the UAC code is 429050. And in case of any of you are wondering, you can apply your HSC Plus bonus point scheme into the Bachelor of Life Sciences as well. So hop onto the UNSW's HSC Plus website and find out what sort of bonus points you're eligible for. So that's just a message that I wanted to get out to the audience. And Rebecca, can I come back to you just a little bit more about the courses that you teach in genetics and biochemistry? What level are those courses usually undertaken by students? Are they in second year, third year? Can you just maybe elaborate a little bit on that?
I mainly teach second year courses. So in first year, the courses that I'm taking are based on our basic biology that's being done in first year. And then in the second year courses are a little bit more specialised. So they're looking at things to do with DNA, enzymes, molecules in the cell, and a little bit more specialised. When you go on to third year, and I do a little bit of third year teaching, a lot of our courses are quite interrelated with work people are doing in the research labs. So you get a lot of experience on a lot of cutting edge work that's going on.
Thanks, Rebecca. Rosie, can I just get you to tell us a little bit about what your typical day is as a pathology student? Is there a typical day at all?
Sure. So I study a double degree in commerce and science, and so my typical day is pretty varied. As a student, I'm going from classes in tutorials to labs and to lectures. So the content varies and the way it's presented varies quite widely. However, it's all sort of teaching the same concepts, just in different methods. So things aren't so easy. But sometimes I'll be going in labs at the top of campus at UNSW down to a completely different subject in the next hour. So it can vary quite widely. My days go with commerce subjects, and they also include pathology. So switching between the subjects is quite interesting. Learning one and then going to a different one can be quite interesting.
And do you fit in any of the social stuff on campus as well?
Yes, so I have plenty of time to fit in, well, hopefully plenty of time between my studies. I lived on campus for my first 2 years of university, which was a great way to get involved in the social life on campus in terms of various different clubs, and sporting was my main area, which I was involved in particularly through UNSW netball and that sort of thing. But there's social events going on campus, off campus, all sorts of different things that you can get involved in, and I highly encourage it when you get to university life.
Thank you, Rosie. Gavin, I think we might come back to you and perhaps maybe end the Hangout session with yourself. My question to you, and I guess one of the biggest questions that the audience might have is, what's the what's the biggest selling point about the Bachelor of Life Sciences? Obviously, there's been a demand for this degree to be offered at UNSW. Why should students choose to enroll in this program?
Well, I guess the selling points are that it is about the various life sciences, and it gives students an opportunity to tailor their degree as much as they like, in that there is the most flexibility. If they enroll in, say, the Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Advanced Science, there is a greater requirement to study science. So if they want to pair the degree with, say, some commerce courses or some language courses, there's less opportunity to do so in those degrees. There's more space in this degree. And also, importantly, the ATAR is that little bit lower. So if students out there think that they're going to miss out on a place in the Bachelor of Science here at UNSW, then I would really recommend having a go and putting Bachelor of Life Sciences high up in their preferences.
Thanks, Gavin. And I guess just to add to that as well, we spoke about life sciences being, I guess, an option for students to consider if they're a little bit concerned about maybe not meeting the ATAR cutoff for some of our other degrees. Just so students are aware, at UNSW we do have a great internal program transfer scheme as well. So if you are coming or intent on coming to UNSW Science, at least know that there is the ability to transfer from one degree to another. We've got the capacity to transfer from life sciences into science or advanced science at some point. So students, if you are interested in coming to UNSW, obviously look into the internal program transfer scheme as well, and just keep your options open. As you can see from this Hangout, or I guess observe from this Hangout, there are a number of really, really interesting majors in the life sciences program. If your areas of interest within science relates more to the medical, environmental health sciences, and even psychology, it's definitely a great option to consider. And just to throw in the mix when you're considering your UAC preferences for the 30th of September. And with that, I think we might end this Hangout session. If you have any other queries, the Faculty of Science can be reached at science@unsw.edu.au, and we also have a really active Facebook page and social media following. You can just find us at UNSW Science, just type it into Facebook. Obviously, you have found us on YouTube, so more than welcome to engage with us in any of these forums. Again, the Bachelor of Life Sciences, a new degree for 2015. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.